Eastern PA Weather 30 meteorologist Bobby Martich here with your outlook for January 10th, 2017. We're going to have a system moving in today that's going to bring a little bit of snow, sleet, freezing rain for the interior, but I don't think this is going to be a real big deal, at least not initially. The first thing we're going to cover here is we have a warm front that's going to be moving through in association with this area of low pressure moving out west. This is going to move up to the northeast like this. There could be a little bit of snow out in front of it, but I don't really think this is going to be much of a big deal. Let's go over the NAM high-res future simulated radar. I just want to show you what we're doing here. This is starting off at 10 a.m. You see a lot of clutter here on the radar, and it looks like it's going to be quite busy. Problem I have with this, and we'll move this a little bit forward here. Here's noon, and here's 1 p.m. You can see some snow up in here, and this is actually all falling as snow if it were falling. Because your 32-degree line is way down here. Okay, so this is all frozen precipitation of some sort. We think it would be snow at this point because the warm front is still back here. So there's no warm air advection. If this does break through, you could get some snowflakes out of this period of snow showers possible. The problem is if you're in these areas right in here, where it's showing stuff falling here, there's a lot of dry air it's going to be fighting. So I think your best chance of getting something like that breaking through would be up here across northeastern Pennsylvania, places like Lycoming County over to Luzerne, Lackawanna, Wayne, those kinds of places, because down here it's going to be fighting dry air. So you'll see it actually falling on the radar. Looking outside going, where's the snow? I don't see it. Well, that's because there's a lot of dry air it's fighting, and it's going to be evaporating before it hits the ground. So I don't expect it down here. I know the advisory started off kind of early down here, starting off at about 11 o'clock or something like that from the National Weather Service. We actually focused on the main batch of energy, which is coming in later. This is going to clear out of here, whatever little bit it is. Again, you might have some snow showers out of that, favoring the northern areas. Not everywhere. Would be surprised if it does sneak through down here, and if you get a heavier return on radar and you get something breaking through to saturate the air, but for the most part it's just a big Virga show down here. And then we go a little bit further. Here's the main show coming in. So if you do subscribe to our My Pocket Meteorologist alerts, this is what we sent the alerts for this main show here, because this is the part that would get a little bit treacherous, because this is all mostly sleet, freezing rain coming in here, mostly freezing rain after a certain point in the evening. As it moves eastward, it's going to run into, you're going to be getting some warm air advecting from the south. So anything that happens down here from about I-78 points south, you're looking at that being primarily light rain, but if it does sneak in here early enough, you could get some sleet. At least sleet at the onset, and then some freezing rain until that temperature does climb above freezing. The areas up north here in northeastern Pennsylvania that we're most concerned about are probably right in these areas, right in here, because you're going to have a prolonged period where the temperature is going to be below 32, and anything that's falling in the form of rain, of course, is going to be freezing on any surfaces. So our highest area is right where I circled, and then this is going to move out of here in the early morning hours. I don't think this sticks around long. It's not going to last into Wednesday morning. Here's 4 o'clock in the morning. You go back here to, here's midnight, and even up here you still see that prolonged freezing event going on from mid portions of northeastern Pennsylvania especially. So just be careful if you're traveling this evening, especially up in these areas, until that temperature does go above freezing. We get to 1 o'clock in the morning here, and you still got some pockets of freezing before the warm air wins out and this precipitation ends. It's going to end probably at the latest here would be 4 o'clock here across the eastern sections. By the time we get to early in the morning here on Wednesday, we are high and dry. So I don't expect any problems with the commutes that morning, except in those areas that are still hanging around 32. Just be careful. Watch your temperature Thursday or Wednesday morning. So here's that system. Again, the sleet, freezing rain moving through, and then that's going to push through and change to rain before it ends for most areas on Tuesday night. And then we head into Wednesday. We start drying out. We're just mostly cloudy Wednesday. We have another little bit of rain coming in here on Wednesday night. That's going to go into early Thursday morning, and then just remaining mostly cloudy the rest of Thursday. We get into Friday, though. We have a little cold front coming through here. It might come through actually Wednesday night, early Friday morning, and not a lot of precipitation with it. This cold front's going to be very is going to become the focus of what happens after that, because we have this boundary that's going to come through. It's a cold front boundary, of course. The boundary is going to be situated off to the south like this. We have a little wave of low pressure that's going to ride that boundary from west to east, and that's going to be enough to give us some overrunning precipitation, and that's going to be, it looks like, on Saturday. Here is that, move that a little bit forward here, and you can see this precipitation coming through. This is later here on Saturday. It's coming in from the west, and your boundary is sitting here like this. Now, because this high pressure is sitting here, this is not as strong as it has been in previous runs, but it's further south, so you have a lot of cold air damming at the surface. So anything running, this overrunning precipitation that's running into this high is going to be squeezed out in the form of snow initially, we think. And you can see that here, and that's going to go over to go over to some icing then before it ends. And I don't have the image there; just popped off the map here. But that will go over to some icing after that, so you can see that coming in here behind it. There are different solutions with this that show a much more extensive icing threat here on the European model than what the GFS shows. The more snow you can get out of this, the better. But it doesn't look like a really heavy event right now. We're looking at about a ½ inch of liquid equivalent. The less ice out of that ½ inch that we can get, and less freezing rain we can get out of that ½ inch, the better. You don't want a ½ inch of freezing rain. That would be devastating. Okay, but it does show, at least some models show a little bit of snow on the front end, which would be very, very good. If we're getting 1/10 or 2 of an inch of worth of that QPF in the form of snow, that's good, because that means less icing. So I do think you're going to turn over icing again, just like we had in this, we're dealing with this system now. And then once this moves out, then we have we clear out here for Sunday. So we're just going to watch this closely here. So this will be Saturday night deal as the timing looks like right now. But we're going to get through the first one first, which is today. That just has this light icing event here. But I think the next one does have the potential to bring a little bit more in the way of frozen precipitation, just because of this strong high sitting in a pretty ideal position to keep the cold air locked in the frontal boundary to the south, which will give this overrunning precipitation a better chance of being more wintry than wet. I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Martich. That is your outlook for January 10th, 2017. Have a great Tuesday.